In 2008, the stock market lost 57% of its value in 18 months. People who had spent 30 years building retirement accounts watched half of it disappear. In the Weimar Republic in 1923, inflation got so bad that people needed wheelbarrows of cash just to buy a loaf of bread. In Venezuela in 2016, the currency lost 96% of its purchasing power in a single year. Regular people who had savings, who did everything right, lost almost everything. And in every single one of those collapses, there were people who came out the other side with their wealth intact, sometimes wealthier than before. Not because they got lucky, because they held the right assets. Today, I'm walking you through the 5 assets that have historically survived and in some cases thrived during economic collapse. Not because I think collapse is coming tomorrow, but because the smartest financial move you can make in good times is preparing for bad ones. Let's get into it. The first asset is the one that's been money for 5,000 years and has survived every single currency collapse in recorded human history: gold. Before you roll your eyes, stay with me, because this isn't the gold bug conspiracy theory version of this conversation. This is math and history. When currencies collapse, they collapse because governments print too much of them. That's it. Every hyperinflation event in history, from Weimar Germany to Zimbabwe to Venezuela, started with a government printing money to cover debts it couldn't pay. Paper currency can be created infinitely. Gold cannot. There are roughly 200,000 metric tons of gold ever mined in human history, and the annual new supply grows at roughly 1.5% per year. That scarcity is structural and permanent. In 2008, when the S&P 500 dropped 57%, gold gained 25%. During the COVID crash of March 2020, when everything sold off, gold recovered within weeks and hit all-time highs by August. During periods of serious dollar weakness, gold consistently preserves purchasing power. The practical version of this isn't storing gold bars under your bed. It's allocating 5 to 10% of your portfolio to gold through a low-cost ETF like GLD or IAU, or physical gold held through a reputable custodian. It's not a growth asset, it's insurance. You don't hope your house insurance pays out, you just make sure you have it.
The second asset is one that collapses almost never destroy because people need it regardless of what the economy is doing: real estate. Specifically, real estate you own outright or with manageable debt. Here's the critical distinction. Leveraged real estate, bought at peak prices with maximum debt, is one of the first things to blow up in a collapse. That's what happened in 2008. But real estate owned conservatively, with significant equity, in locations where people genuinely need to live, is extraordinarily resilient. During the Great Depression, landlords who owned property free and clear kept collecting rent even as everything else deflated. During the 2008 crisis, landlords in affordable housing markets with low vacancy rates kept getting paid. During inflation spikes, rents rise with inflation, meaning your income stream adjusts automatically. Real estate is a hard asset, which means it can't be printed into worthlessness the way currency can. The specific type matters enormously here. Residential property in areas with strong rental demand and population growth is your safest version. Agricultural land is even more collapse-proof because food demand doesn't disappear in a recession. People stop buying luxuries in a collapse. They don't stop needing shelter or food. Own the thing that provides the need people can't eliminate, and you'll survive almost any economic environment. We're halfway through, and this next one surprises almost everyone who hears it. Skills and income-generating ability. I know, you came here expecting me to talk about Bitcoin or commodities, but hear this out because it's arguably the most collapse-proof asset on this list. In every economic collapse in history, the people who recovered fastest weren't the ones who had the most stuff. They were the ones who could produce value that other people needed. Doctors worked through the Depression. Farmers never stopped being essential. Tradespeople, mechanics, electricians, plumbers kept finding work even when banks collapsed and currencies failed. Because human needs don't disappear in a recession, they just get reprioritized. A skill that generates income is an asset that can't be confiscated, can't be inflated away, can't lose value in a market crash, and can't be seized by a government. It lives in your head and hands permanently. In 2026, the most collapse-resistant skills are things people will always pay for regardless of economic conditions: healthcare, food production, essential trades, and increasingly, digital skills that allow you to work location independently in any currency. A freelance developer billing in US dollars while living in a lower-cost country is almost entirely insulated from local economic conditions. The investment here isn't financial, it's time and focus. Every hour you spend deepening a genuinely valuable, in-demand skill is compounding your most durable asset. When markets crash and portfolios shrink, your ability to generate income from skills is the floor beneath everything else.
Asset number 4 is one that most retail investors completely overlook, and it quietly outperformed almost every other asset class during the 2022 inflation spike: short-term government bonds and treasury bills, specifically I bonds in the U.S. context. Here's why these matter in a collapse scenario. When inflation spikes or economies slow, there's a flight to safety. Investors pull money out of equities and park it in government-backed securities. Demand drives up bond prices. Meanwhile, short-term treasuries and inflation-linked bonds like I bonds adjust their yields with inflation, meaning they preserve purchasing power even as everything else gets eroded. In 2022, when stocks dropped 20% and crypto dropped 70%, Series I bonds in the United States were paying 9.6% annualized interest because they're linked directly to inflation. That's not a coincidence. That's exactly what they're designed to do. The Australian equivalent is inflation-linked bonds issued by the Commonwealth Government, designed to track CPI and maintain real purchasing power. Not exciting, not going to make you rich, but in a collapsing purchasing power environment, maintaining the real value of your money while everything else burns is an extraordinary outcome. 5 to 15% of your portfolio in short-duration, government-backed, inflation-linked bonds isn't pessimism. It's engineering your portfolio to function in multiple economic environments. The last one is the most controversial on this list, and I want to be precise about why it makes the cut. Bitcoin. Specifically and only Bitcoin, not the broader crypto market. This requires important context. In a standard market correction or stock market crash, Bitcoin has historically sold off alongside risk assets. It is not a short-term safe haven. In March 2020, Bitcoin dropped 50% in 2 days. Anyone holding it as a crash hedge was disappointed. In 2022, it dropped 75% alongside tech stocks. So why is it on this list? Because the scenario it's designed for isn't a stock market correction. It's a currency collapse, a full sovereign debt crisis, a scenario where governments issued money breaks down entirely. Bitcoin is the only asset in human history with a mathematically guaranteed, cryptographically enforced, fixed supply: 21 million coins. No government can change that. No central bank can print more. No political decision can devalue it. In a scenario where governments are debasing currency at catastrophic speed, which is precisely what happens in hyperinflation events, Bitcoin's fixed supply becomes its entire value proposition. During the Turkish lira crisis, Bitcoin trading volumes in Turkey surged as citizens sought to preserve purchasing power. During the Argentine peso collapse, Bitcoin adoption accelerated. During capital controls in China, Bitcoin moved across borders digitally when physical assets couldn't. A small allocation, 5% maximum, held cold storage off any exchange is a bet specifically against catastrophic monetary failure, not against a bad earnings quarter, not against a recession, against the kind of collapse where the currency itself stops functioning. That's a low probability scenario in developed countries, but the consequences if it happens are severe enough that a small hedge makes mathematical sense. The critical caveats: only hold what you can afford to lose entirely. Hold it cold storage, not on exchanges. Think of it as tail risk insurance, not a core investment. So, there they are. 5 assets that survive what markets call tail risk, the low probability, extremely high consequence scenarios that most investors never prepare for. Gold preserves purchasing power across 5,000 years of currency failures. Real estate, owned conservatively, provides shelter and income regardless of economic conditions. Skills and income-generating ability are the floor beneath your entire financial life. Short-term, inflation-linked government bonds protect purchasing power in inflationary collapses, and Bitcoin provides a small, asymmetric hedge against catastrophic monetary failure. Specifically, notice what's not on this list: growth stocks, crypto speculation, leveraged ETFs, any asset that requires continued confidence in expanding economic conditions to hold its value. The wealthy families who have preserved wealth across generations didn't do it by maximizing returns in good times. They did it by building portfolios that survived bad times, and then let the good times compound on top of that preserved base. You don't need a collapse to happen to benefit from this thinking. You just need to stop building a portfolio that only works in one direction.